Alright, so in this video we're going to look at a method that you can use anytime to factor a quadratic, and that's to use the quadratic formula. And if you guys don't remember or aren't familiar with the quadratic formula, I have it right up here. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what is a, what's b, what's c? Well, a is the coefficient for your x squared term, b is the coefficient for your x term, and c is your trailing constant. So in this case, we would have that a is equal to 6, b is equal to negative 11, and c is equal to 4. Now, before we get started with this, I just want to remind you guys, or I should say let you guys know, that this is definitely not the quickest way of factoring. It's probably the lengthiest way of factoring, but this is just another tool that you'll have that you know you can always fall back on if you absolutely had to. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm just going to start by taking my quadratic and following this format. So I'm going to say, okay, I have x is equal to negative b, and I'm just going to plug things right in. Just bear with me and we'll work through it together. So x is equal to negative b, so negative b, which my b is negative 11, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 11 squared, minus 4a, which is 6, times c, which is 4, and this is all under my square root here, all over 2a, and my a is 6. Alright, so I'm just going to start simplifying. So we have x is equal to negative 11, that's just 11, plus or minus the square root, negative 11 squared, that's positive 121, minus 4 times 6 is 24. 24 times 4 is 96. So I have this minus 96 here. Okay. Now, then I have over 2 times 6 is 12. So really be careful in here with this minus 4ac. Be very cautious of whatever signs you have, positive or negative. This is where a lot of students get mixed up. Sometimes they'll forget a negative sign or forget that one of the numbers are positive, and you can often make a mistake as far as what sign that trailing number should be. In this case, it's going to be negative 96 or minus 96. Okay, so our next step from here, I'm just going to keep going. So I have 11 plus or minus the square root of 121 minus 96. Well, that's 25. And this is still over 12. So x is equal to 11 plus or minus square root of 25 is 5 over 12. Alright, so now remember this isn't a plus, or I should say, remember this isn't only a plus or only a minus, it's plus or minus. So really what we're saying from here is that, okay, well our solution to this problem is going to be either 11 plus 5 over 12 or 11 minus 5 over 12. Alright, so let's keep going with this. We're almost there. So now we have our two possible solutions. And let's kind of just simplify them one at a time. So if we did 11 plus 5, well that's 16 over 12. And that actually simplifies to 4 over 3. So far we have x is equal to 4 over 3 for this one. Now let's look over here. X equals 11 minus 5, that would give us 6 over 12, which is 1/2. So if you were using the quadratic formula to get your solutions, you would be done right here. You have x equals 4 over 3 and x equals 1/2. But we're not trying to, in this problem, necessarily get a solution, we're just trying to factor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take each one of our solutions, we'll start with x equals 4/3, and I'm just going to move my 4/3 so it's on the same side of the equation as the x is, okay? So over here it's x equals positive 4/3, so I'm going to have to subtract it over. So that's going to give me x minus 4/3 equals 0. And over here I have x equals positive 1/2, so I'll subtract that over. It gives me x minus 1/2 equals 0. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since this is set equal to 0, I can multiply this by whatever I want. As long as I do it to both sides, they're going to be the exact same thing. Both sides will be equivalent or equal. So if I have x minus 4/3, I'm going to get rid of this fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Okay, so this would give me 3x, 3 times x, and then 3 times negative 4/3, that's negative 12/3, or 4. So I have 3x minus 4 equals 0. So we'll leave that one alone for now. Let's look at this other one. We have x minus 1/2. I want to get rid of this 2 in my denominator, so I'll multiply both sides by 2. So 2 times x, that's 2x, minus 2 times negative 1/2 gives me negative 1, and that's equal to 0. So now I have two equations, both set equal to 0. 3x minus 4 equals 0, and 2x minus 1 equals 0. So now I can write both of these, 3x minus 4 and 2x minus 1, as binomials. And we are done. So this is how you factor a quadratic using the quadratic formula. And remember, this is not by any means the quickest method, but this is a method that will always work. I hope this video has helped you.